Alright guys, the sound you just heard is the sound I'm going to be showing you guys how to make real quick. The way I would describe this sound is sort of it is a sub bass that I heavily distorted, so it's a distorted sub bass. I've heard things like this before in other tracks, and probably where I got the main influence for this was probably from BSOD or Deadmau5 tracks, which is pretty much, they're both Deadmau5 tracks if you think about it, because Steve Duda and Deadmau5 are BSOD, or at least they were back in the day. So I've heard those kind of distorted sub basses, or at least that's how I made this one. Maybe they made theirs with analog gear, but that's okay, because nowadays you can do most things digitally or emulate it, so it's no problem. So what we'll do, I want to say that you need massive for this. If you don't have massive, then what you're going to have to do is make multiple track or copies of the same track, but because of Ableton allows me to group things together and make copies with inside of instrument track or instrument rack, it makes my life easier from having 3 copies of this channel down here. So okay, I'll quickly show you what else is going on. So what you'll also need in addition to that is this plugin called Camel Crusher, which is a really good distortion plugin. You can download this for free at camelaudio.com for Mac or PC. It's really great. I mean, I compare it to being as good as Homicide, and I paid like $150 for Homicide. You know, sometimes I use Homicide and then I A and B it with Camel Crusher, and sometimes Camel Crusher wins my preference for that instance, which is really great, because it's free. And the same company makes another one called, I think, something Fat Crusher or something like that. That's a really good one too. I don't have it, but I've used it in the past and it's really good. This is kind of like the cheaper version of that one, so whatever. And WoW filter. That's what else you'll need. If you watch my videos, then you know that I use WoW filter for a lot of reasons and for a lot of things. I will just say that in this instance, it's really used to crunch the sound and really give it that final touch that it needs to beef it up. So I'll play you. I'll turn off Camel Crusher and the WoW filter so that you guys can follow along and compare what you're doing. But inside of Massive, everything's very simple, and you can ignore these. These are just compressors. So this is just my compression, and this is my sidechain compression, so don't need to worry about that. These 3 masses are the same patch, but there's slight variations, but they're very slight. So I'll show you guys how to make this patch. It's just a basic sub patch, so what it sounds like is this. Oh wait, hold on. I don't know if you can hear that. If you're on you need to pretty much be on monitors to hear this, or big speakers, but it's playing right now, and if you can hear it, good, you're on monitors. If you can't hear it, then you might be on a smaller device. But this is a sub sound. This kind of sound is something, this patch right here is actually one I use a lot for my sub layers. I think it's even on my Facebook for free. I'm not sure. If it's not, I'll make sure to throw it on there probably the end of this week. Also, when my Facebook hits every new 100 likes, I will throw a bunch of free presets for Silent or Massive, or some samples here and there. So it seems like every week or so I'm pretty much getting up to 100 new likes, thanks to you guys here on YouTube, because that's the only place I promote that, and I don't really throw it in your guys' face, but I'm sort of telling you now because I think this patch might be on my Facebook. Anyway, but it's really easy to make, so it's probably quicker to make it here right now than to go download it, because all it is 2 sine squares, and you can see where the wavetable position is on both of those. Intensity is up on all the way up on both of them, and the first oscillator is down 1 octave and the second oscillator is down 2 octaves. And amp is up all the way on the second oscillator, but it's a little bit down on the first oscillator. So as you can see, this is kind of pointing towards intensity, and this one's all up all the way. And I assume that you guys went to new sound before you did this, so that all your filter stuff and those kind of things fall in the same place. Let's go over voicing real quick. You can see it's a 16:1 poly, so it's your default. Since this is a sub bass, you could turn on pan position, and that would be very good idea because this is a bass sound and you want it to be in the center with the kick. But I turned it off here because I'm not using it like that. And let's see, that's really it. That's pretty much the sound because we're not using the modulation, oscillator, noise, or inserts, or filters, or effects. There's a little bit of feedback. You can copy that if you want. It's not really doing a lot, but you can get that down if you want. And for EQ, I just boosted the low shelf a slight bit. And my volume is kind of brought down a little bit because the sound can be loud. Okay, so that's pretty much it. That's basically it. We're just using these two oscillators, throwing a little bit of EQ and just slight feedback. That's it. So you could probably make this in like 30 seconds if you know what know what you're doing there. And that's just a basic sub, and you can use that to layer underneath plucks, other bass sounds. You can layer. I use it sometimes to layer with the kick, so every time the kick hits, it triggers a MIDI note, and that triggers a sub and kind of has that sub underneath my kick. So, it's good to have a sub layer for a lot of things. And so now what you do with Massive is you press Command G. That gives you an instrument rack. And then inside of that, you turn on this little yellow box right here. And you get this little section right here to pop up. And you can click on your Massive, press Command D, and it gives you a copy of that. And so you're gonna want to make 2 copies of this top one right here, and we're gonna go into the second one right here. We're gonna open that up. So make sure you click on this one first, and then open it up. And the only change I made to this one was I added a Bronner tube to FX, and it's very subtle, but it does do what I want it to do. So drive is right there in the middle. Dry wet is brought down a bit. And for the third one, we're gonna open this one up, and this one is exactly the same as the top one, except now in FX1 it's a classic tube, and this one will be more noticeable. It's not so subtle. The dry wet's kind of pointing right here. Drive is right there, and that's what this one sounds like. This is what the second one sounds like. And this is what our original sounds like. And when you play those all together, you get like a very colorful sub. So that's kind of why I did that. I'll show you the compression real quick if you want to get that down too. Or if you want to do your own compression settings, that's totally cool. I just did a ratio of 4. Kind of quick attack, sort of. 15 milliseconds is not really too quick, but it's okay. And I have my release on auto, and my threshold is at negative 24 dB, so I get a nice bit of gain reduction there, as you can see. Or I like to look at this one more, because that's sort of how I'm used to using gain reduction with other compressors, but whatever. And makeup gain, you want to have that on, so that for all the gain reduction you're losing, you make it up. And now for sidechain compression, if you didn't know this, when you use the Ableton compressor, you click on this little arrow, it brings out this stuff. You turn on your sidechain, you select what you want a sidechain with, and I just use the body kick, and I have the ratio of 3, no attack, so pretty much 0.01 millisecond, so that the compressor grabs the signal really quick to the signal that's going into the compressor. So it's taking the kick and it's quickly grabbing this signal and bringing it down. And release is at 30 milliseconds, so it's right around there. Threshold is at -8. And that's pretty much it for compression, if you guys wanted to get that down. Now I'm going to turn on the Camel Crusher and show you what's going on there. So without it, this is what you should have. As you can hear, that's kind of like the signature of the sound. That's kind of like what you want to hear, or what I was going for. And so when you open up Camel Crusher, whatever opens up for you by default is the same thing I had here, and I just moved it around from there, so I didn't change the patch, I just left it right here. So I brought the compressor up all the way, make sure it's on fat mode. I brought the tube up all the way. I turned this parameter up to here. I don't know what this parameter is exactly, I just kind of use it to ear. If you know what it does or what it's called, you know, leave a little section and leave a little comment below. I would really like to know what this is so that I could use it better, but for now I'm just using my ears when I turn this knob, which isn't necessarily bad, but I like to know what every parameter does inside of everything, just so I know what to use it for. And mix right here is right around there, volume's right around there. Very simple. And that's why I like using Camel Crusher also, it's very simple. And now for the wow. So without the wow, what you should have right now is something like this. So that's pretty good. I was pretty happy with it, but then, you know, me being me, I decided to add a wow filter because I wanted to hear what that would sound like. And of course I was very happy with my results. So this is with the wow filter now. So as you can hear, it beefens up the sound. So what you want to do is just open up wow, turn this to band reject, turn your cutoff to around 14K, reso to around like 85, where that would be in between 70 and 100. Overdrive is kind of around like 15, I guess, right around there. The modulators aren't doing anything. I don't have any modulation on this, so we don't need to worry about that. And mix and master up all the way. So it's very simple. And of course, make sure you're not in vowel mode. That's kind of like the formants, the stuff, and blah blah blah. You don't really need that here. And that's pretty much it. So what you should have is something like this. And this is very basic, you know, synthesis inside of Massive. It's not complex in any way. It's just sort of there. So anyway, that's pretty much the sound, you guys. If you guys want me to do tutorials on anything you heard in here, it's all ready for me to do. I usually like to build, you know, a little bit of a track around the presets that I show you how to make, or the sounds I show you how to make. So, you know, I like to do that. And I might do a tutorial on the kicks in this track because I think they sound very nice, and I use very basic techniques to achieve it. So, you know, you guys let me know. Thanks for watching, y'all.